I'm Travis.
And I'm David.
And we're the Game Detectives.
For the second week of Rare Month, we're going to be looking at some of the defining features of Rare, specifically its music. And we're taking on the daunting task of choosing our top 10 Rare songs.
A great song really adds to the tone and environment of a game. The melodies can last with you for hours, and when you hear the song outside of the game, you're instantly brought into that world.
And so with that, we're going to be looking at our favorite Rare songs.
Number 10, Atlantis, Banjo-Tooie. Water levels can be difficult to compose for. The music has to match with the mood of the level, but can't be as sluggish and static as a giant pool of water. For example, Donkey Kong 64's Gloomy Galleon is slow, broad, boring, and doesn't really offer any exciting incentive to explore the level. While it fits the theme of the level, it doesn't do that much to add an atmosphere to the level that is desperately needed.
On the other hand, the Atlantis theme from Jolly Roger's Lagoon and Banjo-Tooie nicely complements the level's aquatic theme while also adding enough variation and odd instruments to make the level exciting. The opening 8 notes, which go down and then up, set the tone of the level by making it sound like you're listening to music underwater. But these notes are also fast enough to make you want to continue swimming after you hear it.
When the theremin-like melody starts playing, it adds to the atmosphere by making the crazy underwater world sound like it's from another planet. And with the crazy enemies, the ancient city, and aliens, the melody nicely complements the level, which feels disassociated from the rest of the worlds in the game.
What makes the Atlantis theme great is the way that it adds to the level design, but also makes the underwater world feel vibrant and alive, rather than stagnant like a lot of other water level themes. Number 9. Treasure Trove Cove, Banjo-Kazooie.
As we've covered before, Treasure Trove Cove introduces a lot of the core mechanics into the game, while not making it overwhelming. The light and breezy music of the level makes the player feel at ease with their surroundings, while also tapping into the beach theme.
The steel drum melody instantly transports players to the Caribbean, evoking warm sands and sunny skies. Without even seeing the level design or its name, players will know that they will be walking into a beach paradise. Every instrument, from the bongos to the flutes, are light and cheery, and, combined with the bright level design, makes Banjo seem like he has an extra spring in his step.
As the second level in the game, the music for Treasure Trove Cove keeps the game inviting and fun, while also introducing the player to new challenges. By keeping the music so upbeat, the game keeps the new mechanics from overwhelming the player, and it's just so catchy. Number 8. Windy & Co. Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Although not as widely popular in its time, Conker's Bad Fur Day has gained a cult following. Yet, for a Rare game, it doesn't have that much in terms of iconic music. Most of the levels have very generic and dull themes that spends too much time imitating the movies and games they're attempting to satirize. But its overworld theme does pretty well compared to the rest of the game.
Windy & Co. instantly resonates with the tone of the game with the sassy brass solo and lighthearted beat. The tempo of the piece is similar to a walking pace, making the song and the game seem pretty leisurely as you first get into the overworld. This helps the player relax and really take their time while also giving them enough energy to move forward in the game.
What I like so much about Windy & Co. is that it brings the tone of the game into a single song. You can tell just from listening to the theme that the game is going to be sassy and filled to the brim with attitude. Number 7. HAILFIRE Peaks, Lava Side, Banjo-Tooie.
Most fire worlds tend to have aggressive music with a driving beat and lots of brass instruments. Since fire burns fast, this makes sense. The music reflects the flow of the energy and the heat. Yet sometimes, when Banjo-Tooie chooses to slow down the theme music for HAILFIRE Peaks, the game turns a lava level into an epic world.
To say the levels in Banjo-Tooie are huge would be an understatement, but Hailfire Peak's lava side stretches the game even more, sometimes to the point of lagging. The music reflects this. When you first enter the world, there's no percussion, just rhythmic low brass accompaniment followed by an epic horn melody. The tones of the instruments are broad and grand, much like the design of the level itself.
Even when the backbeat enters into the mix, the song keeps its slower tempo, but also never drags or weighs down on the player. Rather, the music helps keep the tone of the level by making the player feel even more intimidated by the towering peak. Now, if only the ice side had a little better music. Number 6. The DK Rap Donkey Kong 64.
Here we go.
Voice acting was definitely not common on the Nintendo 64. Only a handful of games took the opportunity to include voice acting, and most that didn't do it very well. But by adding voice acting to their game, the crew making Donkey Kong 64 may have stumbled upon musical gold. While most games' opening loading screens include some of the characters, only the DK Rap gives these characters a full introduction.
Part of the reason the DK Rap was included on this list is because of how strange of a concept the song even is. The Donkey Kong games have never tried to be edgy and begin with a rap, but the end result of the rap is delivered so straight and odd that it somehow makes perfect sense with the game. While at some points it's very awkward and convoluted, that somehow adds to its charm.
The backbeat is very basic and provides little in terms of variation, much like the lyrics themselves. With lyrics like, "He has no style, he has no grace, this Kong has a funny face," are so goofy and weird that they perfectly fit the characters. The delivery of these lines heavily accent the beat, again signaling to the listener that these guys are kind of nerdy and don't actually know how to rap. The DK Rap is not necessarily the best orchestrated song, but its uniqueness helps bring it on the list. And the Melee remix of it is actually pretty good. Number 5. GRUNTY'S LAIR, Banjo-Kazooie.
As can be seen in Conker's Bad Fur Day, overworld themes matter a lot when constructing a platformer. These areas connect every single part of the game, and the players will be spending a lot of time in them transferring from one section to the next. So the overworld themes have to be good enough so that the players won't get annoyed with hearing it over and over and over again.
Perhaps the most important function of an overworld theme is setting the tone of the game. As soon as you enter Grunty's lair, you hear her signature cackle, making the villain appear to be menacing, as she watches over you as you enter the lair. The music is in a minor key, making the lair seem gloomy and creepy, but the bouncy motion of the marimba and the melodies make the theme fun to listen to as well.
Also, the theme connects all of the worlds really well. As you physically approach each level, the overworld theme changes instruments and style to sound similar to the music of the world you are close to. For example, as you get closer to Freezeezy Peak, the bells and strings from the level's theme take over the melody and the background music for Grunty's lair. This makes the whole world seem connected as one whole entity rather than vast distant worlds. Number 4. Hot Top Volcano, Diddy Kong Racing.
Most people can agree on the definitive game for each genre on the Nintendo 64. In first-person shooters, there's GoldenEye. In adventure games, there's Ocarina of Time. But choosing the best racing game on the Nintendo 64 might be hard to decide. F-Zero and Mario Kart 64 are pretty near and dear to die-hard fans. But if we're talking about music, there's surely no better racing game than Diddy Kong Racing. The game includes so many bright and memorable tunes, but none can beat the drive and energy of Hot Top Volcano.
Hot Top Volcano is a lava-filled course that you navigate via airplane or, for some reason, a hovercraft. The opening musical lick sets the tone for the course, which takes a lot of inspiration from aspects of Indian musical structures and melds with that familiar backbeat. The little embellishments, such as the bongo rolls and the surprisingly awesome MIDI voices, add a unique edge to the tune.
The tempo is fast enough to really make the player feel like they're in danger, but it's also upbeat enough to make it fun. Since Hot Top Volcano is the last course in the first world, Dino's Domain, the player already has a lot of nerves going into the race. The music digs into this by making the course seem threatening and distinguishing the courses harder due to its more complex instrumentation and structure. Like a lot of good video game music, it ratchets up the tension in the game. Number 3. Opening theme, Banjo-Kazooie. As we've talked about before, the DK rap helped set the tone of the game while also making the cast seem fun and relatable. But it was also kind of weird and awkward. So if you take the accurately hilarious character descriptions from the DK rap and take out the bad lyrics, well, you would end up with the opening theme from Banjo-Kazooie.
This song serves as the best way to introduce the tone and characters of the game by actually having the characters themselves playing the theme. You start with Banjo and Kazooie, who are playing, surprise, a banjo and a kazoo. And the game instantly introduces the players to a core mechanic, the fact that Kazooie resides in Banjo's backpack and can pop out at will. Next, Tootie comes in with her flute, and Mumbo comes with his flurry of instruments.
These characters interact in the opening song and shows us the characters' distinct personalities. The richness of the music reflects the different egos, while also giving the players a memorable melody and theme. With a name like Banjo-Kazooie, the game better deliver some quality tunes. And it starts off by giving players a fun, bright, and uplifting introduction to the tone and characters of the game.
Number 2. Jungle Japes, Donkey Kong Country. Now, we've covered exclusively N64 games so far because that's what Rare has had the most success with. Let's pretend that nuts and bolts never happened. But sometimes you have to go back to your roots. Now, what music from Rare has truly stood the test of time through the years? What pieces do we feel we need to keep coming back to? Ask players about their first Rare musical experience, and they would probably tell you Jungle Japes from Donkey Kong Country.
Jungle Japes is such a staple of the Donkey Kong Country series that almost every new generation of games has some remix of the original version. In fact, we might have chosen Jungle Japes from Donkey Kong Country Returns as our favorite one, but technically that's not a Rare game. What's great about Jungle Japes is that it's such a definitive song. Every time you hear it, you know exactly which game it comes from.
It really helps you get into the spirit of the games. The drum beats, the pan flutes, and the other instruments all bring to mind the jungle or the forest. This really helps players get into the right mindset of the game.
Number 1. Click Clock Wood, Spring, Banjo-Kazooie. Most levels only have one theme, but the level of Click Clock Wood actually has 4 separate sections: Spring, Summer, Autumn, and Winter. The music of each of these sections brilliantly shifts to the atmosphere of the season. Winter uses metallic instruments to make the tree at the center of the level seem dormant, but also alive. The music for Autumn utilizes bassoons and other woodwind instruments to reflect the preparation for hibernation of the animals in the season. Since summer often includes long, lazy, sunny days, the music broadens and becomes slower.
But the orchestration for the spring section of Click Clock Wood utilizes the music to the greatest effect. The orchestration starts out with a flutter of woodwind, similar to many introductions utilized in orchestral pieces, instantly giving a grand feel to the level. Then, a simple flute melody takes over, accompanied by just the rain and bird calls of the season, transporting the player to a wet, lively spring.
As the piece progresses, more voices add in. Eventually, birds sing the melody along with the flute, making the music feel closely linked to the tree design of the level. Then, a counter melody and a bass part join in and add to the complexity of the tune. The song's journey, from simple to complex, reflects the player's journey through the level. At first, the level seems simple. It's just a tree as you enter. But as you begin exploring, you find new areas and characters that add up to a lush environment. The music echoes the design of the level by becoming increasingly complex right when the level does.
So that concludes our top 10 rare songs. Were any of your stupid favorites left out of the list? Let us know in the comments.